Hi everybody, hope you're doing well. I want to tell you a little bit about kind of how I'm feeling, where I am, and yeah, tell you a little bit what I've been up to. I haven't really made many videos recently. Part of that is because I've been really deep in my own work. I recently returned from a training done with the International School for the Temple Arts, ISTA. I did their level 2 training, which is the sexual shamanic initiation. And yeah, what a ride. I deeply feel that everybody should do an ISTA, at least the level 1. It's just so groundbreaking and transformative in taking your power back as a human being, as a sovereign, and so I don't really want to talk about like what we actually did in the level 2, but I want to give you some of my main takeaways and kind of how I feel having left that container. There's a lot of conversation about sovereignty and synergy, and the play between the two. And I always talk about how, here in an embodied sense, this embodied experience, there's always this dance between the individual being yourself and then being in connection with others. So how do we stay in our sovereignty and still be in synergy with others, with community, with relationship? How do we not lose ourselves and still be in connection? This is like the essence of, I think, is what I got from ISTA, and also the essence of the work that I do with my own clients and in my own personal, transformation. So I really love it. And it became so apparent how quickly we give our power away as individuals in exchange for what we think is love. Or what we want is love. How quickly we give our power away. It can be anything from allowing the other person to influence how we're feeling. This is the big one. Other people have influence as to how we feel, our experience in life, how good we are. And it's so profound. It's so profound. And another main takeaway is how to not collapse. And what I mean about collapse, and I think some of you that I work with really, I use this term a lot. It's like this place of smallness. Where do we feel small? And why do we feel small? And can we plow through that place? To make a different choice. Because ultimately everything is choice. The choice to feel small might feel a very familiar choice. It might be a place where we're very comfortable. And some of us may even, source a lot of our identity from this place, as much as we hate to admit that. But ultimately, the place that we feel small, unseen, unheard, unloved, disconnected, that place is a choice. And when we see how we're making this choice as a sovereign being again and again and again, we can hit the pillow one more time, because we do a lot of pillow hitting, and say, I am going to do a different choice. I'm going to make a different choice. I won't feel small. It doesn't matter what you feel or do or disconnect or connect or whatever. I choose not to be small. I choose to feel my feelings, and I choose to stand in my power and say no or say yes. And that is a really powerful place. And I think, from my experience of ISTA, the level 1 is really good with that, and level 2 really tests that in your body. It's a choice whether we feel small or not. And stepping into our power is the choice, a different choice. It's a place to say, this is a familiar place, and yet I choose to make a different decision. So I think that's the second takeaway. And the third takeaway that I became really conscious of as I'm processing stuff and, integrating a lot of this in my relationship and the way that I engage with people and how I feel myself, is that, at least for me, and I think a lot of us will relate, we spend a lot of our energy externally worried about others and how others may or may not make us feel. It's like, what is he doing or what is she doing? And I'm like all into it. I'm all in the story. I'm putting all of my energy externally because I'm so afraid that the external might hurt me or make me feel good, but ultimately it's like I'm putting all of my energy into the external without really putting energy inside of me and being like, what do I want? How do I feel? What do I want to do? Yeah, irrespective of the external. And so that was like a really big takeaway for me. It's like I spend a lot of my energy worried about the other person, the people, what's being said on the listserv, like whatever, especially in relationships where I feel really close to people, especially, romantic relationships. And when I start sourcing that energy inside of myself, it really shows me how little the external world can impact me and how much power I can source from myself and be happy in myself and not really care so much what the other is doing. That's another one. One more, and then I'm going to leave you because I know it's getting long. Another thing that I really became apparent to me is where I can source my power, my internal power. And I think this is really, it's like the same for everybody and yet different. It's like different flavor of the same thing. And for me, a lot of where I can source my power is my rage. Yeah, I have a lot of rage in me. But instead of spilling that rage on others in a very destructive way, I can source my power from this place in the rage that is like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up no matter what. I am relentless. It's like this relentlessness to grab, it's like this, this place that is like, sometimes it's rage and sometimes it's just like this relentlessness of like, I want it. And there's a place inside of me where that holds a lot of power. So, and that power isn't about getting it or the other person or what the other person is doing. That is a place of, I am so powerful that I am never going to stop. Irrespective of what happens on the outside, I am never going to stop. And that's the place. And my wound, one of my core wounding, like my deep wound is like, it's never enough. Like that is a place where I'm very familiar with. It's a very young place. It's a very early childhood place. And it's a place that comes up a lot. Like it's never enough love. It's something that I struggle with. But turning that place into a place of power means like, I am not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. It's never enough. I'm going to expand. Once that place is brought into consciousness, I'm going to expand. Unlimitless. I have unlimited potential because it's like, it's never enough. And from a good place, because all of our shadows have our gifts. And this is the real beauty. Our shadows, our wounds, our struggles, those are the places where the gem is hidden. That's the place where the gift is hidden. And so whenever you're coming into face-to-face with your wounds, love them. Really love them, because that is the place of your power. It's like my place of never enough. That is the place of my expansion. That is the place of my growth. That is the place of my potential and, my inner power that is just boundless. Because of the wound that I have, the inner child wound of never enough. So that became really clear. So be really good to your wounds because they hold your gifts. Yeah. So I'm gonna finish off. Please, I'm really curious to hear your questions, your feedback. Is this like, did this make any sense? Did this resonate? If you want to DM me, please DM me as well. If you want to set up like a discovery call to unpack some of these issues in your life, I'd be happy to. So wishing you love and freedom and power in your life, because love and freedom, they're the two sides of the same coin, and that coin is the absence of fear. And maybe I'll get into that a little bit later, but love and freedom, they're really the same thing, because it's a place where fear does not have control over our lives. So with that, I'm going to leave you. All right, bye.